Hi, this is Natalie Hughes, and I would like to invite you to the Junior High Family and Consumer Sciences Department. Today I'm going to be giving you a tour of our facility and some of the safety precautions that we take and that we have in place for our students. I don't have a lot of wall space in my classroom. As you can see, I have lots and lots of windows around. So I'm going to show you how I make do with some of the postings that we have. First is the safety bulletin board. I have to use a door. So there's the doorknob. You can see where all these things are. These things are posted just as soon as you come through the door. It has all of the color codes that we use for information that we have to give to the students. You also see we have the evacuation drills that we have. It has the locations of, you can barely read this, but it has the locations of where students are to go whenever we have severe tornadoes or severe weather drills or warnings. And then this is the evacuation. The orange is how the students would leave to go outside in case there was a fire. So that just shows the route for that. If we do have a tornado, students are to go to the basement, which is just right around the corner from my classroom, so it's not a long journey for them to go on. If you walk around the corner, this side is the classroom area of my department. We have a smart board, desks for the students to sit whenever they're doing classwork. I left out some of the safety posters that my students did from last semester when we were going over our safety chapter. They're not hanging anymore because I no longer have these students, but while they are in class, when we go through all of the safety precautions, they're assigned to make a presentation over one safety feature per group, and then they have to also create a visual aid to go along with it. So these are some of the visual aids that my students did, and I think they did a great job. This one I'm not sure was completed, but it says that preventing shocks. They left out some of the informational text that they were supposed to have. Great artwork there. And then the last one that I have for you to see is preventing cuts. Over here, get a little closer. We have just a school calendar. It's got our football team, some of the schedule for the football. We're a little out of season, but that's okay. The calendar's still in date. But down below are the rules and policies and procedures for my classroom, so students know what's expected of them when they're in this side of the classroom and what's expected of them as far as classwork is concerned. So that is posted there. I have another one posted underneath the TV, and it's just kind of a shortened version of the same thing that's over here. Okay, on to the kitchen lab. Well, before we get to the kitchen lab, I back up a little bit. We have FCCLA is the student organization that goes along with my classroom. This is the events calendar for FCCLA, just kind of at a glance. Next to the event calendar is where I keep my binders and my important information. This is where the MSDS information is posted. So if there were something to happen with some of the chemicals that we have in class, we have that information on file that we can pull. So far I haven't had to use any of these things, but we have them just in case we do. So there they are. I also have my binder from our school that has the crisis plan just for any type of crisis that could possibly happen. These are also left for our substitutes. So it has a bill schedule. Then you can kind of go down through the table of contents that it has. We have a crisis plan team, a safety committee, the schedule for the entire class, the school sites locations. We actually have 5 buildings in our school district. The building crisis code, like if they come over the intercom and say code red, we know that we have an intruder, and all the different color codes that go along with those. And then it also has specifically what we do in those types of situations. So if there's a bomb threat, the safety routines for the release of students and how that happens, emergency phone call chain. We actually have an automated call line that calls out and lets us know if we have emergency things going on. Severe weather, fire evacuation, fire drills, child abuse, if we have anything like that that's going on. We have procedures in place for that as well. So, like I said, that is all in our crisis safety binder. Okay, now to the kitchen labs. As you can see, the kitchen labs have 3 different stations where each of my students participate in cooking labs. Where the sinks are, it's posted how exactly they're supposed to wash their hands, and you can see that there's also a sign that one of my students did this semester in our safety unit that we went through. And so those will be posted around the kitchen lab as we walk around and see this. We don't have eye washing stations and things that may be consider or be important whenever you may have like an automotive department or heavy equipment. We do have 5 sinks, so if there was something to get in one of the students' eyes, they can wash them out with the water here. Down below, we keep our kitchen chemicals stored below the sinks. Just they're like household chemicals that are used to clean the countertops and wash dishes. And so those are stored away from the food that they are preparing. They know that whenever they are preparing food, that they're to keep them away from any of the spill or any of the food so that it doesn't spill or come in contact with food. Above the stove, there's another one of the signs that says turn pot handles away from you. They know they do that because if a pot handle was turned out, they could knock it over, spill a hot liquid on them, and potentially get hurt. Up in the corner, we have the first aid kit that is up in this cabinet. We've used lots of Band-Aids. There it is. And so if they know that that's there, if they need it, there's also antibacterial ointment and anything that you would need from a first aid kit. The stoves, whenever they are using the stoves, they are to make sure that the door is closed whenever things are baking. Again, there's to keep the pot handles turned away from them when they're cooking. You can walk on around. This is the demonstration area. This is most of the time just used by me. This is the area whenever I'm showing them how to do things that I will use. There's a mirror up here that I can turn for them to see what's going on in the counter or on the demonstration area, so they can see that. The chairs over there we sit out so that the students can sit and watch what's going on. Again, another stove. More student-led instruction. It says never leave food unattended. One of the number 1 reasons that there are kitchen fires is because people walk off and leave their food and then it catches on fire. So they know not to leave their food unattended whenever they are cooking. Again, we have hand washing signs that show them all the proper steps to wash their hands. We actually go through a demonstration that the students have to show me that they know how to properly wash their hands. Also, when they're in the kitchens, they have to pull their hair back if they have long hair, boys and girls alike. If they don't want to pull it back in a ponytail and get it out of their face, they have to wear a hairnet. Some do not like to do that, but it is a safety precaution that we take. They also have to wear aprons and use oven mitts and pot holders whenever they are baking to make sure that they don't get burned. It's also one of our policies that they are not allowed to wear jackets in the kitchens when they're cooking because they can harbor bacteria in the sleeves, but they also can be a fire hazard if they have them and they're slouchy or sleeves are long and things like that. Right here we have our step stool. This is used for all 3 kitchen areas. If there is something up high that they need to get, they have to use the step stool to get it to prevent having, getting things that are too heavy for them or overloading their arms just so that they can support the weight that they need. On around, there's one of the refrigerators. There are more of the lab rules that the students made and just put them up on the board. Again, I think it's better whenever they have some ownership. I think they pay more attention and know that those were things that they had decided were good ideas and good practices after they went through the unit over safety. On around, like I said, I have a long wall of windows, but you can see that we do have safety posters that are in place. Again, I don't have a lot of wall space, but we do have what I do have. We use to the best that we can. Then the fire extinguisher is placed right there. All the students know how to use it if there is a fire. Hopefully we'll never have an experience like that, but there it is. The green tag on it just shows that it's been inspected this year and that it's up to code. I only have one entrance and exit into our classroom. So if there was a fire and we could not get out the door, we would use this window. It goes right out on a lawn. You can see that it's not far down. And so that is how we would escape if we needed to. One more thing that I'm going to show you that is also one of our safety features is the fire blanket. It is posted on the beam that is on the demonstration table. So if there were to be a fire over in this area, the students know that you just pull the little string hanging down, and that would pull the fire blanket out, and they know how to use that. We've practiced and gone through the procedure. We talk about it every time that they have a food lab. So, as you can see, this is the Family and Consumer Sciences Department at Ada Junior High. And thank you for listening to our policies and procedures.